A theme of the Twilight Zone was frequently in trying to escape fate, you stumbled into it. When a prophecy was foretelling a future of bad outcome. Arnold Katz used to talk about being from the same town as Rod Serling. And the gang who were in the Marines in college with me would write Twilight Zone soliloquies on the bathroom wall. And what I'm seeing is shadow dance of how they think and the way they impinge on the persona, as they put it. Um, Daring me to try to escape what they've impinged and using caprice as a form of terror. As one of them said, if you beat a dog, it will love you more. So we see the shadow play of Hollywood's invasion for the axis of the United States in a film starring Jim Brolin, Cape Town something. It came out in 1967. Its suddenest moment is when you want the antagonist to get away so that you see him confronted by a man whose loyalties have been questionable so far. And he seems to be around a corner, invisible to the other man who turned that corner. But the use of a little girl who sees what happened but doesn't say anything at the beginning of the movie, the use of the VW Beetle is a symbol for Hitler's concern for the common man. And the symbolism of two virgins, the look-alikes of Lee Marvin and Gail Burst, and the uses of the name James, Jacqueline, and the images of encryptions of Hitler's presence appear throughout the whole film. A semiotic symbolism that's in many of the films of the Kennedy assassins behind the Texas School Book. And what they reason is that everybody backs down from claiming ill will when they're confronted with a superstar. Wow, it no longer matters. Wow, heavy superstar, you know. It's spotlighting a deer to do that to a person who has no um, encounter with superstardom, no power to break the mold of stardust in their reveries about right and wrong. So what we see is a continuum of methods, the way that they shuffle around what people believe about what happened temporarily and knowingly shyster the evidence. The frames missing from the film are all themes very familiar to people who've investigated how Oswald was deployed and what happened. I mean, the double entendres. Oh, you'll like the second man even better. You know, the double entendres. You know, Jacqueline's role in helping defeat the communists, the hand-to-hand combat aspect. There's a lot of things in that film that are very suggestive of the semiotic literature that I've compiled and issued some testimony about. So, what we see in the pattern is essentially um, two virgins' pussy ball being clocked to the onslaughts, the depopulating system of first AIDS and then COVID. And they use an honor system. You know, you're honor bound to die in defense of the system. You know, and if you're not, don't feel honor bound to die in defense of the system, then you're a traitor. And you know, it doesn't really follow the logic of civilized behavior, which is to be compassionate and work towards the betterment of society. The looking into ecology. One of the reasons I fell for Greta Thunberg is that the people in ecology have needed reasonable leadership, and she was put into the position she's in by circumstances well beyond her control. All of this was in motion before she showed up. So I admire her. There's no way to know if she was being used or allowing herself to be used because she um, hasn't spoken out about it. Maybe she's not persuaded. But whatever else, the fact that I'm aware of her has been used to trigger these Twilight Zone routines. And, you know, so, um, you know, they're baiting me. Let's see how Queerball um, feigns his. I mean, their ultimate goal was to blame me for the murder of Cersei. I made them do it. You know, and how she came, she was the white. You know, no more the sissy stuff about good whites. Well, there's a difference between white people who can see the psychology of the Green Party, who are advancing an international structure with a council from Europe who say not you're American white, but are European white. And so from the very beginning of the whole problem, Greta was put in an untenable position. You know, she didn't kill Cersei, but they will put the mistake of her death by transference on Greta. You see, and this is the sort of thing that they do routinely. Cersei stood for a family who've been strong advocates for voting rights, for friendship with blacks, for empowerment of blacks. They've celebrated black achievement. To have to even go into that is so ridiculous. And they've suffered for the civil rights stance in heinous and abnormal ways. Turning one of them into a white is to sacrifice to satisfy black entertainment television, whatever did it. And then allowing the same people who did that to say, well, you're obviously aggrieved. We'll get even for you. You see, that's the ticket that they're playing. You know, they feel the tension, the protest. Oh, you protest too much. Well, maybe you just want a little bit of licky chops, bloodthirst, satisfy yourself. And they're framing the whole thing as protest about abortion. They don't care about abortion. They used me for sex as a child rather than teach me about consideration between people. They didn't want me to have a happy family and a marriage. That's the last thing in the world they wanted. They wanted to use me based on their cult of impinging on the persona's experience. They said this persona is subjected. Subjected. That was the word they chose. I didn't choose it for them. I'm not putting words in any of their mouths. The persona is subjected to successive degradations of the X motive. You say it's pornographic industry targeting a child who they brain damaged. And then they're like behind the scenes, what's the story going to be? Make no wins. The story was that she didn't give it to him because he didn't, you know, show enough courage to give her what she wanted. And he wishes he see this is what, and she was still a virgin. They claimed that it was proof of rape. The other ones who were doing like this with the storyline, always doing was calling them on it. Now Penis Gabriel, he's the king of this stuff. I sent him Chasing an Echo, a short story. You can flesh it out of their files, where I showed what they were doing so that he would protect me because I loved those people. What did they do? They said, ha ha ha, we'll rub it in your face. You proved that they were telling the truth because the stories match. The stories match because I detected the impingement on the persona's experience. And they want me over a slow fire, the BBQ spit. That's the white. Everybody wants to see a white suffer. Hey man, let's go see the white suffer. It's really fucked up. Trolling by this European Council of pseudo intellectuals who just think that our lives are a series of imprints stamped on a sales pitch. And they'll sell one, get rid of the other, and pick and choose. It's Axis intelligence. You know, Everybody knows how much I admire the people who've stood and kept things, trying to keep things moving. My heart goes out to all of you. I mean, but I've been warning you about this. Why fall back in step with them? That's what I don't get over. The queers in Seattle went along with the first attack. They said, neat. Texas queers lined up behind Midori Goto. Why? She was the promoter of Two Virgins Fight Club Pussy Bowl rather than trying to get people help. And they just like that spread COVID around. It had built momentum for our movement. What movement is taking you souvenirs to hell? Why are you so? It's because we want to see the white get barbecued, man. And a lot of these people aren't even black. They just picked up on the psyche, the rage abnormals from whatever is going on with the insurrection crowd. Always say, oh, liberals, the Democrats, they're the ones who are always saying they're victims and fighting about victim status. Even Lou Lapham was playing the song and dance. For one thing, we're the ones being victimized. Cersei, Bobby, John were all liberals. So they were the ones who were being victimized. And another thing is that when you start playing these games of like Martyr Ball, trolling it, that's when they get the PlayStation going. This one thinks it's a bigger victim than that one, so we'll victimize this one, ha ha ha, and it's poaching. And you can tell these fight clubs were on either or side of race and British black psychology and all of this stuff. That it's one central control tower mecca hitting both sides till you turn blue in the face. They already know it. They don't care. They're PlayStation enthusiasts. So you have to get over the hurdle of your faith in these people. You can tell the NAACP and tell the NAACP and tell the NAACP and tell the NAACP. And eventually they're going to say, you think we're stupid? We know this is happening. We don't care. So you get on the side of people who do care. Get on the side of people. I'm not saying if somebody from the NAACP cares, you shouldn't be on their side. You should be on the side of the people who care. They don't want to see the Aum Shinrikyo cult start a race war in the United States. I don't.